Thank you very much, Shri Gajanand ji. And I would like to thank you both, Gajanand ji and Shri V.R. Mishra, for the kind words which you have spoken about me. Shri Bhaskar Narang, Director General, dear officers of the Indian Railways, friends, it's my pleasure to address this webinar on good governance for railway officers organized by Railway Institute of Logistics and Material Management, and I would like to compliment the institute for choosing the theme good governance. It is commendable that this institute has been imparting training to the executives of the railway as well as other public sector units since its inception in 1997. Over the years, it has been working to fulfill its role of enabling professionals in the public sector to achieve excellence in various areas of supply chain management. While I was in the process of finalizing the talking points, I received a communication from Shri Gajanand ji listing the questions which some of the attendees wish to raise. The list of the questions is very long. Therefore, I decided that instead of speaking on the modern principles of governance and management, with which you are very well familiar, I would rather like to take some of your time on how each one of us can become inspiration to himself or herself for excellence in action or for good governance. The stage of life through which we are passing. In Indian tradition, it is according to the Indian tradition, the life of a person is divided into 4 stages. The first stage is brahmacharya, that is when you are a student. Second is girhastha, the stage through which all those who are participating in this conference are passing through. Then is vanpras, the forest walker, and then sannyas, that is renunciation. But of all these 4 stages, the Indian tradition considers girhastha as the most important ashram or stage in life, and it guides us adequately how to this most important stage, how to live it. The Indian tradition says Brahma nishtho girhastha syat tattva jnana parayana yad yat karma pirkirvita tad brahmani samarpayet. The householder must live the life in a manner which is established in supreme truth, Brahma, and shall pursue deeper truth of all things, and in all activities of life dedicate his actions, his works to the eternal being, to the deity one worships. So the message is clear. If we want to live by Indian ethical standards, then every act that we do must be in the spirit of offering devotion to the supreme truth. And once we have chosen public service as our calling, then implementation of every task we are entrusted with must be done with earnestness, devotion, sincerity, which is another way of saying excellence or good governance. When I am doing the work with full devotion and sincerity, then am I doing it for others? Is it because in my conduct I am a better human being? Indian tradition tells us no. We have 4 Mahakavyas from 4 Vedas, which tells us, Rig Veda tells us, Prajnanam Brahma, intelligence is divine. Yajurveda tells us, Aham Brahma Asmi. And Samved tells us, Tattvamasi. It is the same divine which dwells in you, which dwells in me. That art thou. And the Atharva Veda says, I am Atma Brahma. The spirit, Atma, is divine. So what Indian tradition tells us? That actually, before that, Swami Vivekananda, the prophet of Indian Renaissance, who had deep influence even on the leaders of our national movement. He has said that my mission can be explained into very simple words. And that is, I want to preach unto mankind their divinity and its manifestation in all movements of life. He did not say that I want to teach to India. He did not say that I want to teach to people who subscribe to this tradition. He said, I want to teach unto mankind their divinity. The point that I am making is that you have chosen public service as your calling. And this public service is not that you are going to serve others. When you serve others, actually you serve the divine. You serve yourself. In a speech which Swami Vivekananda made in Chennai in 1897, he said, for the next 50 years, this shall be our keynote, this our great mother India. Leave all other vain gods, disappear from our mind for the time being. This is the only God that is awake, our own race, everywhere his hands, everywhere his feet, everywhere his ears, he covers everything. The first of all worship is the worship of the Virat, of all those around us. Worship it. Worship is the exact equivalent of the Sanskrit word, and no other English word would do it. These are all our gods, men and animals, and the first God we have to worship are our countrymen. These we have to worship instead of being jealous of each other and fighting each other. And it is not only Swami Vivekananda. Much earlier, in fact, at the advent of Indian civilization, there is a beautiful document which is known by the name of Kapil Dev Ahuti Samvad. One shlok in that's it contains many shlokas, but I would like to refer one from that samvad. The Indian tradition says that what is so adhyay, what is tapa, is striving to tapaswadhyay nirittam, ever devoted in the pursuit of knowledge. So, in one of the Upanishad, this question has been raised, what is tapa? Then one of the answers which has been given is, tapa is so adhyay and pirvachan, which means that as a result of your striving, the austerities which you undertake to realize the truth, when you receive enlightenment, then you have a strong desire to share that knowledge with others. That is Pirvachan. When Kapil Muni reached that stage, he had this desire, and there was nobody around except his own mother, who was sitting at some distance. He called the mother, asked her to sit before him, and then this samvad takes place. So one of the shlok in that samvad is, Atmam sarveshu bhuteshu bhutat manam kirtalayam archaye dan manabhyam maitriya abhinain chakshusha, which means that see in each being, or see each being as my temple. I dwell in each body. And look at them with respect and honor. Archaye dan manabhyam. Help as much as you can do in their meeting their needs. And Maitriya Abhinain Chakshusha, and an attitude of non-separateness. So therefore, this serving common man, serving others, the Indian tradition says, Swami Vivekananda says, Kapil Muni says that this is actually an act of worship. Manav seva hi Madhav seva hai. And you have chosen Manav seva as your career. If you have chosen Manav seva as your career, I whatever I am speaking to you, I do it consciously. Because I feel that an ancient civilization like India, if you will try to tell your people that you have to be good, you have to be sincere, you have to be devotion, because these are the requirements of your profession according to the modern gurus of manager, then it becomes difficult to carry the point. But if you tell them that this is your legacy, according to your tradition, it is binding on you. If you try to interpret all the ideals that we have today, whether they are constitutional ideals or the ideals of good governance, excellence and action, if we present them in the Indian paradigm or in the paradigm of the principles which come from our ancient traditions, then it can certainly give a feeling to our people that this is something which is part of our heritage, part of our legacy, and as Indians we have a duty to live up to this legacy, to uphold these traditions, and they can become more appealing to the people. Now, as I said earlier, this basic principle of divinity of mankind, even if we believe in that and we perform our actions in accordance with that belief, then even ordinary actions will be elevated to the level of offering devotion to the deity. As far as public life and governance is concerned, the term which has been used in our tradition to describe it is Raj Dharma. Today, Raj Dharma is translated or interpreted variously. It also means politics, it also means public life. It's a wider concept. Today, politics has become a dirty word. In fact, even in parliament, one politician addressing the other, so many times I've seen, I have never done it, but so many times I have seen it, that where one makes appeal to the better angels on the other side and says, rise above party politics. Actually, this has come to us when we appeal. When we make this appeal, then we are more influenced by the Western ethos. Our ethos of politics are totally different, and I have spoken about it several times. The ethos of the Indian traditional ethos of politics, they have been described. Sarve tyaga raj dharmeshu trishta. Sarve diksha raj dharmeshu yukta. Sarve vidya raj dharmeshu chokta. Sarve loka raj dharmeshu pravishta. In politics are united. In politics must be manifested highest form of sacrifice. In politics must be united highest form of knowledge, highest form of sanskars, diksha, training. manners, good conduct, and the aim of the politics must be to serve all kind of people. Sarve loka raj dharmeshu dirishta. You have to see everyone with the eye of non-separateness. Okay, already over. Okay. I am told that I have already taken 20 minutes and you have a long list of questions. Therefore, I don't think I should dwell further on these, should lengthen my speech, but I would like to conclude because you are in position of authority. All of us are in positions of authority. And here I would like to quote from Islamic tradition, where it has been said that if you are given authority even to rule over 10 people, then every ruler on the day of judgment shall be brought before God shackled. And after everyone, whether good or bad, someone who has been given authority over others shall be presented before God shackled. And if his actions have been informed by the requirements of justice, then those shackles will lose him. And if he has disregarded justice, then he will receive his due punishment. And when we are in position of authority, with this I shall conclude, when we are in position of authority, never forget what Indian tradition tells us. Adi Shankaracharya in his famous book, Vivek Chudamani says, and that is both warning for those who are sitting in position of authority as well as to emphasize the essential unity of mankind, the divinity of mankind, the dignity of mankind. He says, Rajyam Narendrasya Bhatasya Khetaka Tayor Pohe Na Bhato Na Raja. The only difference between one who is sitting at the top and exercising authority over others and the man who is sitting as a watchman on his door, the only difference between the two is the title, upadhi, and the uniform which they wear. Remove this title and remove this uniform, and there remains no difference between the two. So don't get deceived by the ranks and the titles. Basically, this is a great instrument of service. I think I would like to take 1 minute more and share with you what the advice which was given by Bhagwan Buddha to his disciples. He said, always remember that no matter how educated, talented, or rich you are, how you treat people is what ultimately matters. Integrity is everything. Thank you very much for listening to me patiently, and I will be very happy if I can respond to some of your questions. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.